All right, guys, this is episode number 34.
No,
No,
30,
36.
30.
I was way off. Thanks for tuning in. Before we get started, if you want to book a call with Brooke or I, a buyer or a seller call, it's absolutely free. You can do so on our calendar down below. You can pick a time that works for you, and it's just a quick Zoom call where you go over your needs. There's no pushy sales tactics, just to see if we can help you in real estate. And also, we just want to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that. We're super grateful for the support this year. Like, we can't believe how far this has come and
I know.
that people want to listen to us. And it's been awesome. It's been a
Yeah.
fun ride. And we got a lot planned for 2024, more content and just provide you guys value so you can make better decisions. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. And
Let's get started.
let's get started.
That was so heartwarming.
It was
I
heartwarming.
got chills. That was so nice. That
All right,
was on
guys.
the spot too. He wasn't even reading it.
I
That
know,
was
there's no teleprompter here.
Teleprompter. That was like from the heart.
It was.
Okay, what do we got today, Cortezi? Inflation.
Yep. The buzzword of
We haven't
2023.
We haven't talked about inflation in a
I know
little
it's
bit, I feel
boring,
like.
but this one's kind of good.
Okay, Canadian inflation holds steady at 3.1%. All right, Canadian inflation didn't seem to want to budge in November with expectations of inflation falling to 2.9%. Mortgage interest costs and the high cost of rent remain two of the largest contributors to the inflation rate. If you remove mortgage interest costs, inflation would be 1% lower. So we'd be at 2.1%,
1%, yeah.
our target, if mortgage interest wasn't as high as it is.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword.
Because if it actually was that low, would inflation be 2.1%?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
would everything be good? So,
yeah.
interesting. It is a double-edged sword.
It
That's
is
a
a
good way to
double-edged sword.
describe it. Food and energy inflation both slowed in November as expected. Price growth for food items dropped to 5%. It was what, 5.8?
I think so, yeah.
The lowest rate in 2 years.
Yeah, so
That's interesting.
food inflation is coming down, albeit it probably doesn't feel like it.
It's still, I mean, when we say food is coming down, that doesn't mean that the price of where it is right now is coming down 5%. It just means it's growing at 5%. So it's still going up. It's just going up at a slower pace. So it's always funny to say like, oh, food's coming down. Like, oh, we expect to see things cheaper. Well, no, food inflation means it's growing at a certain rate. So food is growing at 5%, which is slower than previous months. I guess the lowest.
It's just crazy to think about like food inflation and like how high it is. Like even a 5% increase.
So let's do some math on that. Okay. Let's call it $10 for what? What costs $10 right now?
Honestly, a box of cereal, which is disgusting.
Box of cereal, $8.99. So with tax, you're $10 in.
Yeah.
So let's do the math on that. 5% is 50 cents.
I think so. Which is, I mean,
no, 20 cents.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 50 cents.
50 cents.
It doesn't seem like a lot. I know.
50 cents. So next year would be $10.50.
Yeah, it's just like if if it's 5% on a lot of stuff and you put that in the basket of goods, it's like 50 cents on one thing, 50 cents on another.
So if your average grocery bill per week, if you have, a kid and a husband,
I think people say, probably
so 250.
Honestly, probably $500 a week.
A week?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do $350 a week. So 350 times 5% equals plus 350 equals. So you're looking at about 370 next year. If you're
that's just year over year. I mean,
but that's one grocery shop. So now let's do 1750 times 4 equals times 12 equals. Your grocery bill per year is $1,000 higher per year if it goes up 5%. If you're spending 350 a week right now on average, you spend however much that equals in a year, but with the 5% increase on everything, that's $1,000 more.
I just think of it since COVID too. Like, I think if you do that since 2020, your mind would be blown how much more expensive food is, because that's when we started printing money to stimulate the economy. So like that's when inflation became a scary thing.
Inflation being at, I guess, because when inflation was as high as it was, like 8.8 or something, what was the peak? It was close to 9.
Yeah, high 8s, I think it was.
That just meant things were going up pretty quickly, but we didn't feel that increase, right? You feel it year over year. It's like, wow, things are expensive. So if inflation was currently at the time at 8%, you didn't feel it that second.
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So that's why I guess it wasn't crazy. We're feeling the effects now.
You're also feeling the effects too, because a lot of people became homeowners, and with interest rates higher, you're feeling that effect in a different way. Like, you probably wish you could go back to when inflation, the CPI was 8%,
Yeah.
because your rate was so much lower back then if you're a homeowner.
Yeah.
Not even just that, your car rate, your credit card rate, like everything is up. So I just think it's like a compounding effect. And they always say like interest rates increases have a delayed effect in the economy.
Yeah.
So you feel it later on. And I think a lot of people are feeling it now, which is, it's a hard time in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I guess like let's talk about the inflation rate and what we think. It didn't move. I think many economists were pretty upset that there wasn't a 2 in front of that number.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bank of Canada is going to see though that, hey, a lot of that has to do with mortgage interest costs. So if we kind of bring that down a little bit, will inflation come down too? Core CPI was still sticky, was 3.5%. And remember, core is when you remove food inflation and energy. So it's
Just the
actually
volatile
above.
parts
Yeah.
of the inflation reading.
Yeah. So the Bank of Canada does look at that indicator as basically an important one. So I think that going forward, we might not see these major decreases that a lot of people are predicting, but I do think they're going to start cutting next year. And that's the overnight rate that they'll cut.
Yeah, I see a lot of articles and people being like, buy now, buy now, things are going to go up. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how you can really post that. I do believe that we're like some deals out there. It's like, holy crap, this is a good price.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with them on there's definitely opportunity to be had, but those like types of videos.
Predictions. Yeah. Prediction is a shitty game. First off, it's
Mm,
hard to predict, just say this is where I think it's going to go. But those videos of realtors doing it's so cringe. Like, what do you know about the future? Like, you don't know anything about the future. Like, you can say, in my professional opinion,
yeah,
I think
totally.
that rates will be here.
Yeah,
I just see all these
yeah.
videos and it's like, you're incentivized by a check. Like, this, obviously you're going
I
to say that.
know.
Like,
I
give the
know.
bull and the bear like we do. I give
Yeah.
you both cases and
Yeah.
then you can make your best decision. I think that's the most authentic way to do it.
Yeah. That's
We
why
always
you and
say
I
it's like,
work.
yeah, if you don't want to
We
buy,
balance
okay.
each
Yeah,
other
it's all
out.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do think things are going to go up. Like, I feel like a lot of people have been on the sidelines for a long time. And people buy when things become affordable for them,
Yeah.
right? Like, aside from what's going on in the economy, people look at their own personal plan, right? So a lot of people stay on the sidelines because of the uncertainty and because of a lot of other people are staying on the sidelines. They follow the masses, right?
Yeah.
But the minute things, either the rates come down or like incomes go up, like whatever happens to make it affordable for that person, that's going to get them back into the market because we've seen the numbers of sales like down like crazy numbers.
Mm.
So as soon as that starts to happen, if the rates come down like they say they're going to, I think that'll get people off the sidelines, and all of the people that do, I guess, kind of follow the masses, which seems to happen. You see these big
Yeah.
runs, and now everybody's kind of staying put. It will uptick a little bit in activity, like even just sales will go up in activity just because it's a pretty slow market right now. So I do think it is a good time to buy. If somebody was asking me for my opinion, a single family house like your primary residence, that I'm still unsure about, unless you're putting a large down payment down. Like, for example, the house that I live in now, I wanted to buy it, but the mortgage was $8,000. They were open to leasing it. So I'm like, okay, I still want the house. I still want to live
Yeah.
there. So I'll lease it for $3,500. I'll revisit them because they still want to sell it. But why would I pay $8,000 a month instead of $3,500 if I didn't think that the house was going to go up? So if I don't see this house, in my opinion, going up faster, like within that year term, as much as the difference from $8,000 to 3,500, then I don't know if it's so worth it. You can get a lot of investments right now, and the numbers work. I think that is an incredible idea right now, just to buy where the purchase prices are at and still not really have money out of pocket every month. But I understand why people are renting over buying, and because
For
unless you
sure.
see that as an investment, your higher payment going toward the greater good of making equity,
Yeah.
you don't see that happening, like, or it kind of staying stagnant for a while, then I get it.
Yeah. It's such a subjective question. It's like, is it a good time to buy? It's like, what are you
But
trying to,
if you're
what are you
doing
trying to accomplish?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, what are you trying to
Yeah.
accomplish? Because if you're doing a move up or like if you have equity to play with and you're moving up, like so you can get a good deal on
Yeah.
the houses that would have been far different between the middle class home and like a bigger move up, right? So there's some plays where it actually is smart to buy in a high interest market.
Yeah. I mean, I would try and sell first if I was in this market for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sell first.
I've heard some, like, you can't walk away from a firm deal. Like, people think you did. I just saw another case now. Someone had to pay 250 grand or roughly around that because they didn't close on the property for like unforeseen circumstances. But the courts don't care. You bought a house, you have to commit to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely sell first.
Yeah. Sell first. Know what you got in your pocket. It's just not that market where it's like, I know I can sell your home for X amount. Like, even if someone went and bought right now before they sold, I could give them like a worst case scenario. Like, I'm like, based off this house, and this house, I'm pretty confident we can at least get X amount on the low end.
Yeah.
So, definitely do your homework before you get out there.
It's interesting. Every market calls for different opportunity, right? And that's just, you got to know where to look. And there's certain times where I would suggest doing things now. And certain times I would suggest, even for myself, making other decisions that I didn't think I'd rent. To be honest, I didn't.
Yeah.
I own multiple properties, but as my primary residence, it makes sense. And that's because we run all of these numbers. And I think that the dream of owning a home is a lot of people's, like, in the back of their mind, owning a home is like this big grand idea, but it does have to make sense because you're only buying because it is an investment at the end of the day. Otherwise, why buy it?
Yeah, it can also be your worst nightmare. Ask someone who bought at the peak and with a variable rate. Know a lot of people there where their mortgage went from $2,000 to $4,000. Like, that's not fun. So run numbers, do homework, and listen to podcasts.
And listen to podcasts.
Yeah. So kind of, I guess we can kind of pivot into our next one here. So Canada's population growth is unsustainable. Canada's population was estimated at 40,528,000 on October 1st, 2023. An increase of 430,000 people from July 1st. This is the highest population growth rate in any quarter since the second quarter of 1957. So just to give people context, that's like the city of London moving into Canada in one quarter. Pretty insane how many people that is.
You know what I'd like to do is have a new immigrant come on the podcast.
We did kind of have Sahas on.
Yeah, but he had been here for 10 years.
I don't think it was that long, but
I think so.
Yeah.
Just because it's like they always end up in Airbnbs, I think. Right? They don't have a rental before they come here.
No.
Unless they have family.
I know. Should get a student living in a tent coming in.
Oh my God. I saw a video today in Kelowna. They said they called it camping in Canada, which is sad. Like, even just to make fun of it, it's sad, but they called it camping in Canada. And I was in Kelowna not too long ago, but I'm like, oh my gosh, that's gone up fast because I was there in the summer.
It's insane. And then just to finish this off, in 2023, we grew by 1.2 million people and housing starts fell 22% this year. 9 of Canada's 10 provinces and 1 of 3 of our territories grew faster than any state in the United States last year. So we are just irresponsibly letting way too many people in. And it's not just like we always say, it's not just like, oh, you're hurting Canadians. You're also hurting the people coming in. You're selling this dream. And then even Trudeau was on a news press conference and someone asked him, like, what's going on with this immigration plan of yours? Like, what's happening? And he was like, we've done it in like a responsible, thought out way. It's no, you haven't. Come on now. It's just,
like to hear the metrics behind.
Yeah. What he thinks is responsible. Like 430,000 people in a quarter is just unbelievable. So I don't know. It's getting to this point where like Canada's almost just looked at as a joke.
But like, what is the alternative? Because if somebody wants to come here for a better quality of life, okay, cost of living, yes, but what did Sahas say? He said that it was better when he got here just for the sake of like even infrastructure and like safety and ability to access things. And even though the cost of living is so crazy, like you do have to pool with other students and make it work. Do you say no? Because, hey, we can't support you? Do we say no if they want to come anyways? Yeah,
for sure. You got to say no, right? You can't just have.
What if their life in India is worse? Just in like.
Yeah, but it's not on us. It's not on the government. Well, it should be on the government to make the proper decision, but you have to really think about it. Like, you can't just bring someone in and stress the system even more. Like you have to figure out the system first before you let them in. I'm not saying no to everyone. What I'm saying is there's just way too many people coming. Like you can't have 430,000 people come with housing starts down 22%. We're in a housing crisis. We have a doctor shortage. You can't, like, I don't even have a family doctor right now because mine retired. And it's just like there's a lineup of people everywhere trying to get into a hospital, like 6 to 8 hours. Like it's just it makes no sense right now. And like you shouldn't have international students coming here to get, honestly, let's just call it what it is. Half these diplomas are worthless, living in tents and knocking on people's doors asking if they have any rooms for rent. Like you've just literally done such an irresponsible job where, you know, you're hurting people and it doesn't make any sense anymore. So you see videos of people just like, I'm going back to India. I'm going back to my country. You had Ukrainian refugees leave Canada because it was so unaffordable. Wow. So you're going to eventually, you know, people are going to catch on. It's not where you want to go. It's not a great place to go anymore. It was for so long and until the system got stressed way too hard. And here we are in this, you know, housing crisis with 1.2 million people coming into a country that just can't support it. So anyways, I just think it's
interesting because there are a lot of like rentals on the market right now that are just sitting lots. Same with houses. So if you think that people have nowhere to go, and a lot of people, there are bigger homes, share the rent, right? If we had this many people looking and having to live in a tent, well, if you're beside 4 other people in a tent, go get a 3-bedroom and split it. Or do you not have an income? Is that the problem?
I don't think it's that easy.
You're right. I'm being a little naive in the sense that you can't just go get a rental. You have to have documents and apply and all of that. But there is a lot on the market, like a lot.
Yeah, but you can't make that kind of money even make sense, right? Like what's a 3-bedroom townhouse, $35,000-$4,000 a month?
Well, a 3-bedroom upper floor in Hamilton's 24, 25.
Yeah.
Between 3 people or even 4. Get a couple in one room and 2 others.
I know what landlord's going to do that. With no credit, no.
Yeah. No and so is that the problem? No credit and the income is bad that these places aren't being rented? It's not even people reaching out or showings. I used to have, even on Facebook Marketplace especially, tons of people and even newcomers say, will you accept newcomers? And agents saying, will you accept newcomers? Will you accept newcomers? And they have that preliminary call to see if the landlord would be open to it. Some of mine were, some of mine maybe weren't so supportive of no document application, but now it's just kind of dead. That's just what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I guess you'd have to look at the vacancy rate.
Because for a long time, I'm like, don't even run a vacancy rate when you have a duplex in Hamilton.
Yeah.
We're pretty crafty. Like we usually rent our duplexes pretty quick. And that's because we have subscriptions to a bunch of other stuff. But there's a lot that are sitting and have vacancy now having to be added to their pro forma. And for a long time, it's like, you have a rental in Hamilton, it's going like that.
Yeah. Crazy times. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens next year. Honestly, like especially when the tides change and the new power gets in, what happens then? The Conservatives are winning the poll. So when they get in, are they going to cap international students? The Liberals are already talking about it.
I like what the Conservatives are doing, which is they will take out the stress test for renewals. You'll still have to do the stress test, which obviously saved a lot of people with the interest rates having gone up so much. But if your mortgage, for example, my renewal will be in April. At renewal, let's say my lender is offering me a certain rate, but I'm with a B lender, and all of a sudden I want to go with an A lender that's offering me a rate 2% lower. I would have to be stress tested at the 2% higher than the current rates offered to switch lenders. And if I didn't qualify at 8% or whatever it was, then I'd be stuck with the current lender to just continue going with them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to pivot. Even on renewal, I'm not breaking any sort of mortgage to a cheaper mortgage because of the stress test. So they're taking out the stress test on renewal.
Because you're already in the house.
Because you're already in the house. You're already paying your mortgage. Unless you're in default, like you're already there.
It's just classic Canada. Like,
what is the point to be stress tested?
No competition. Just, you got to stay with that lender. You're not moving. You're not leaving.
Yeah. So that like, I understand why the stress test was implemented, and it did save some people. Like it did. So, but stress testing on renewal, I don't like. So they have some points of new things that could help ease the pain a little bit.
Yeah.
Come the future, and it's going to take a lot of years
a lot of work to undo what's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks to say.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, you want to read the next one? You want me to reopen it?
Sure.
You were just talking about mortgages. So this one,
Okay.
this one's a little bit better news.
Better news. Average mortgage holder to see monthly payments rise nearly. How's this better news?
No, the one above it. You're reading the wrong one.
Oh.
Interest rates.
I'm like, that's bad news.
That's bad news.
Interest rates slipping below 5% for some mortgage offerings.
Oh,
Okay. There we go. We're getting somewhere. My
We're
interest
getting
rate right
somewhere.
now is 7.6 or
oh, beautiful.
something. After many months of sky-high interest rates, institutions like Equitable, that's who I'm with, and I'm at 7.6.
You better call them.
Interesting. Think Financial and MCAP are offering 5-year insured. Oh, that's why.
Is your
5-year insured fixed rate mortgages at slightly more appealing rates. So to be insured, you have to put less than 20% down. So
Yeah.
you're going to pay premium. It's usually 4% rolled over into the mortgage.
Yeah.
But you will get a better rate because the bank is able to offer you a better rate because your mortgage is insured.
Yeah.
So it's actually backwards. You put less than 20% down, you do get a better rate than if you put 20% down.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Blows people's mind. Like, what?
Yeah. Equitable Bank, for example, is offering rates as low as 4.94 to Ontario buyers. Well, it's 5 years. So Equitable is being smart, in my opinion, if they're in the business of making money. If we're at, where are we? We're at 5% prime, so 6%.
Yeah, 6 a bit. Yeah.
So if we think rates are dropping next year, if they lock somebody in for 4.94 for
5 years.
5-year
Yeah.
fixed, you're going to be paying for today's problem in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, they're making a business call here. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd do that.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't.
Yeah.
I would pay 6% for 2 years or 1 year.
Yeah.
And then you hope to be like even below this 4.94
Yeah.
that it balances out and you end up on the positive. Anyways, the recent shift toward lower rates, Tran says, is due to the bond yield market cooling over the past month. As borrowers know all too well, variable rate mortgages fluctuate depending on the Bank of Canada's overnight rate. Fixed rates, on the other hand, typically, well, they do go off the bond market. In October, the 5-year Government of Canada bond yield hit a 16-year high of 4.42, but by the end of November, it has fallen to 3.64. So even though the Bank of Canada overnight rate is 5%, these banks are able to offer fixed rate mortgage rates lower because the bond yield is lower.
Yeah.
So that is interdependent of the overnight rate. So when people think, well, how are they able to offer 4.5 or whatever it is, when the overnight rate is 5, that's less than prime. Prime has to do with the variable rate. If you get a fixed rate mortgage, they're going off the bond yield.
Yep.
And the bond yield is low right now. So
Yep.
3.64. They usually add 2. So they're
they
adding
still
they're adding
haven't
less.
quite.
Yeah.
They still haven't quite adjusted for the bond yield, but
Yeah.
that's for.
Yeah. Okay. Where did I leave off? Notably, these lower offerings are so far only insured mortgages, which are mortgages where the down payment is below 20%. In Canada, a down payment that low requires the borrower to pay an insurance premium so that the loan is backed by a default mortgage insurer, typically the CMHC, the Canada Housing Mortgage Corporation.
Yeah. So I guess we're seeing fixed rates drop. We're seeing a little bit of a relief potentially coming, but more in the insured market, not quite yet in the uninsured market. I think this is going to either be good or it's not going to be good because we have a lot of renewals coming up next year. So I think it's very dependent on what we see and what the bond traders are doing with that, and then how the big banks react to it. So I think if you took a 6% rate, you're probably going to kick yourself for a little bit, but hopefully they come down and, like you said, maybe take a 2-year refinance after 2 years if the numbers make sense. Yeah. But like right now, it looks like things are going to be coming down next year. I wouldn't say drastically, but I would say sufficient amount enough where it could make a difference on your monthly payment. Mm-hmm. But we're still going to be in the 5s. Still not a good rate at these prices.
No.
Like when you actually run the numbers, it's you're still well. If you buy a house in Hamilton, which is I would say a generally cheaper market than a lot of markets, at least in the GTA, it's still expensive. You're still at $2,600 just for the mortgage, not to mention all your other bills. Yeah. If you have 20% down.
Yeah, you got to get one with a basement suite. That's how I started.
Yeah, it's so true. Like if you want to get into the market, it's tough to justify a condo unless you're like dead stuck on Toronto. when you can look in, like if you're like, oh, I just really want to get into the market, I'll live from Hamilton to, well, let's just say Hamilton's the example.
Yeah.
And you look at a condo in Hamilton or you look at a duplex in Hamilton. Like you should take the duplex all day long. You should rent the
100%.
duplex.
It'll even go up more.
Yeah.
In a better
There's
market.
no condo fees. You're going to pay way less on your mortgage because you're going to have someone in the basement paying $1,800. Obviously screen the tenant. I know there's headaches, but it's a way better investment long-term. Unless you're just, money's not an option. You want a condo, you know, you're making good money. You want to lock it up. You want to go travel, or you just want the convenience of it.
Well, it's hard for people even to have a condo as an investment if you wanted to move elsewhere, because you can't refinance a condo and not be in a negative. Like, for example, my mortgage on my condo is 500-ish, plus condo fees, plus everything. It's like 4,700. It's a 1-bedroom. Can I rent a 1-bedroom condo for 4,700? No. I will tell you what I did though. I furnished it beautifully. So I now rent it for 3,500, which is $1,000 higher than a typical, what it would typically get 2,500. So that means now I'm $1,200 in the negative. My other houses are a little bit negative. So I go out, I find another rental for 2,000, rent that. Now I'm working with this company that finds people that need the furnished rentals. They're going to pay me $4,000. So now I'm cash flowing on a lease. So now it bumps me. So you got to be creative. People are like struggling. It's like there needs to be some creativity. Cash flowing on a lease. How funny is that? I'm like, I'm going to sign this lease. I'm going to put this tenant in. I'm going to get 2,000. That's going to cover my condo. La-di-da.
You got to be creative for sure. It's just, I just don't think condos are a good, I think it's going to
Unless you get, like back in the day, they were, when you got pre-construction, you actually got a deal.
Yeah. And rates were in the 3s.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at a way higher rate.
There was a lot of people that got firm approvals from RBC when they signed the pre-construction paperwork. So they got a firm approval then. So even if anything changed, you lost your job, whatever. No, that was a firm approval 3 years prior to when you actually needed the mortgage.
Genius.
So now they're closing on these condos at the 2%
rate, all appraised.
and they auto appraise. Yeah.
And then they might have overpaid, but hey, if you can afford the payment, then.
Well, if they bought it 3 years ago, I don't think they would have overpaid. Even like we're back down to maybe those prices. Maybe it's kind of
it's probably
on par. But
I think the condo market's going to feel some pain this year, especially in Toronto. It's just you have so many. I think 50% of them are investors. There's no way you're not cash flow negative unless you bought it 10 years ago and you got good pay down. Because it's just those condo fees like really hurt you. I was running numbers in Liberty Village. If you bought a 1-bedroom, and you're probably about $4,000 with a mortgage, condo fees, taxes, and you can rent the same one for $2,600. So if you buy that as an investment, it's not.
So this is the thing. If you think that this condo is so priced so well that you're willing to be $1,400 negative and can stomach it, do you think this said condo is going to go up more than $1,400 a month, which is only $18,000 a year? Typically, $18,000 appreciation on a condo from $500 to $518. That's a small increase. So, if you think it's going to go up more than that, now if it goes to $525, is it worth it to be negative that much to make $7,000?
Yeah.
If your forecast is, I think this is going to be $600 next year, I'm willing to be $18,000 negative, cover the bulk of the rent.
But even by the time you pay realtor commissions, it's your second property, you're paying tax.
Right.
It's
so,
not worth it. It's not
exactly.
worth it at all.
You have to factor in capital gains, your realtor tax, your realtor fees, your lawyers. Yes, but the idea of and why, like, I'm negative on one, but it's like that was like the most wild deal that in the end is going up a couple $100,000. That if I'm 800 negative, it just doesn't even bother me because 800 times 12. It's going up way more than $10,000 a year, this property. So then that $40,000 a year that I'm going to make, because I'm saying it'll go up $50,000. And that's average. Maybe it doesn't go up that over this next year or the next year. But if I hold on to it for 7 years, I do think that if I broke it down, it would have increased $50,000 a year. It's a bigger property. So that's a small percentage if I'm just going to say that. Then it makes sense, right?
Yeah. I just don't think they're a good investment right now. I would just steer clear.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to have the other side of things too.
I know. No, I agree. It's good to have both sides. I just don't see it. I'm just trying to look at it and be like, wow, just such a deep hole to get into for trying to be a real estate investor.
Everyone trying to be a real estate investor.
There's better ways to do it.
Yeah.
Better ways to do it.
Yeah.
Anyways, last topic here. So average mortgage holder to see payment increase rise of nearly 30% in 2024. Although economists widely predict interest rate cuts are in the cards for 2024, the average Canadian mortgage holder will still face a significant increase in their monthly payments in the year ahead. By the end of 2023, nearly 50% of all mortgage holders will see their monthly payment increase in comparison to February of 2022, the month before the Bank of Canada embarked on its rate hike campaign. By the end of 2024, that share rises to 65%. After the Bank of Canada raised rates from 0.25% to 5% in 16 months, which is crazy, which spiked mortgage rates nearly 300 basis points, which is 3%. Many Canadians are now facing in their stress-tested reality. For those who haven't locked in rates, the shock is even worse. For some Canadians, the increase to their monthly payment will be substantial, which will in turn weigh on discretionary spending. So I'm still at this camp where I think a lot of Canadians will be able to afford their mortgage. I think that they're already thinking ahead. You can't miss it on the headlines. Like you got to be really living under a rock if you're not preparing for it. The only thing is for me is the investor class.
Yeah.
How long can some of these people who have a day job and they were breaking even before and now they're negative, like we just said, $1,400. They were never planning on this.
Yeah.
They don't have the appreciation factor into it. They're probably going to be listing this property when it comes to renewal.
Right.
So, anyways, it's pretty crazy
to
see. I think that the renewal shock will be real, but then you have this population growth that's so insane. So I don't know which side to be on.
I know.
Other than maybe just down the middle, like maybe it's
I'm a little bit down the middle. I think that is going to go up a little bit if you were to run the numbers, 5 to 6%. I think they're right. I think mortgage rates are going to come down a little bit, and we're going to kind of go sideways. I'm in the middle. I don't think it's like buy now if it's a good investment. I find them all the time. I'm like, that is a good investment. If I had, if I wasn't tied into a bunch of stuff, it'd be like, I'm buying it. I would. But then I don't think they're going to go up crazy a lot. It needs to make sense. And I don't think there's going to be like a total influx of listings and it's like things are going to go down even more. I think it's just going to be like this. And so it's going to be balanced. And
it's tough.
Trade
it's
sideways.
Tough
I think we're right down the middle.
You have TD saying that we're going to be down 10%.
No way.
And then you have Roy LePage saying we're going to be up 5%.
I don't think I think we are going, well, if I had to predict, I think we are by May, from now till May, we'll be up 5%. That's my prediction. And I watch the market every day. Yeah. So not to say that I'm smarter than any Roy LePage or TD or anything. It's just in my market specifically.
Yeah, I guess it's in your market. Markets are dependent. They're very like hyper-focused.
An agent in Toronto that only does condos could very well be on the other side.
Yeah, he could be down or like.
I'm just seeing some prices where I'm like, this is cheaper than I bought in 2019, and this is nicer. Like this is a wild price.
The COVID darlings like Woodstock and things like they could take a pretty big hit.
So that's why it's like I'm in the middle. My markets I do think are going to appreciate a little bit. Nothing crazy. 5%, like it's very small, right?
Yeah, and I think too it's like, if you're buying a home, it's a different story. If you're buying an investment, try to get multiple units. Like I'm just of this mindset of like when you run the pro forma that we have and you add a second unit or you add a third unit, it just changes everything. It makes your numbers so much better. So I just,
unless you get such a wild, crazy deal and you're okay to be negative that you see the 5-year plan of this property is worth half of what it will be because I bought so undervalue. It's just know what you're doing. Too many people.
Yeah. Just do it blindly, right? Or line up at the sales center.
Oh my God.
They get to occupancy. The fees are $8,000 a month. They didn't even know what occupancy was. Like, it's just like, oh God. You see it all the time on Twitter, but it's, I think going into 2024, I think this was a huge wake up call for real estate investors, for real estate agents. Like now, like we're working hard. We're on Zoom calls. We're running numbers for people. Like, before people would text you what property they wanted, and now you're texting them like, hey, this is a great property. This is why.
Well, realtors are back to doing their jobs. Like I very much like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Finding them.
It was too easy for too long.
Yeah. Well, people would send you a house that they thought they wanted, and then a bidding war would like strike their interest if they wanted to win. And it just didn't feel, I don't know. It feels better now because it's like, I know I studied this and this and this. And I'm like, this is what
you shouldn't be able to go into a house, pay $400 for photos, have barely an idea how to look at a contract, and get paid 20 grand.
I know.
Like now, like look at us. Like we're painting a place, we're staging a
I know.
place. Like
You just me and him. We're doing it together.
like you know what I mean? Like we're getting it clean, we're getting the photos, we're getting the video. Like
we moved out the tenant.
Yeah, we moved the tenant out. Like
there's
it's
a lot more work that comes into it.
we're driving there, getting the keys, we're like all these things, right? And it's the way it should be. Like if you're gonna work, if you're gonna work, it's got to be hard work. Like it's not simple. Like we're posting content every single day. Like it's a chore, but we love it.
It's not a chore. We like this.
Yeah, we love it still. It's like but many people aren't going to be willing to do that. So sayonara.
Bye.
Yeah, it's
bye.
It's a good cleansing. It feels like The Big Short when the guy was talking about buying the boat and then he's at a job fair, a year later.
That's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's good to be smart with your money. Yeah. Anyways,
everyone can learn a thing or two by being smart with your money by Cortez.
Do you think you learned from me?
Yeah.
Like, don't buy that.
Yeah.
You don't need that. If you don't want to buy something, just call me. I'll talk you out of it. All right. Yeah. My bold prediction for 2024 is that Justin Trudeau will step down.
What?
As a Liberal leader.
No way.
And they'll have someone else in there. It's my bold prediction.
Why? You think he's been bullied too much?
No, I just think his numbers are down so badly that
he won't lose in dignity.
I think it's going to be so bad for the Liberals that they're going to say, if we have a fresh face, we can save some seats or we'll still have some input. That's how bad I think it is when you look at the polling numbers. That's my bold prediction.
What's the polling numbers currently?
I think the Conservatives have like an insane, like almost 200 seats, which I think puts them in a majority.
Oh no!
Or like they're heading to majority territory. It's like a huge swing.
Well, aren't they?
Right now, the Liberals have a minority.
But don't the Conservative have a majority?
No, they don't. No, we're less than. The Liberals are in power. But so if the NDP wants, Jagmeet Singh can say, I want an election because of the number of seats they have and the number of seats the Conservatives have. Like obviously the Conservatives want an election. So I could see Jagmeet Singh doing that because he's actually gaining popularity as Trudeau falls down, right? As people are like, I'm never going to Conservative and I don't like what the Liberals are doing. So he could gain some power to the point where he could be like, I want an election.
For seats.
Yeah, it's all about seats in politics.
I don't know too much about politics. I know what's going on in the headlines, but like House of Chambers stuff.
Yeah.
Not your girl.
The Commerce, House of...
Oh, ha. Like Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
House of Commerce. House of Chambers. I'm going to fucking have memes about me saying that.
God, that's too funny.
House of Commerce. What's Chambers?
Sorry?
Is it
the House of Commons?
I know, House of Commons. I just said it wrong 3 times. House of Chambers, House of Commerce, House of Commons.
Commerce is like a university program.
I understand that. But like I said, I'm not your girl with politics. Okay, wait. Where did I get Chambers from? Do you think I got it from Harry Potter?
I don't think so. Maybe
nothing is called Chambers.
There's probably something called Chambers. I'm sure of it, but now we're just sounding.
Hey guys, just to let you guys know, I very much follow real estate. And I follow the headlines in politics, and I know what's going on, but I don't know where they sit, what the seats are, and not too much.
Chamber of Commerce, a form of business.
Chamber of Commerce.
It's as a form of business networking, isn't it?
Okay, wait. I called it the House of Chambers and the House of Commerce, and there's something called the Chamber of Commerce. So I knew I wasn't just spitting out words. I read that article.
There you go. Someone's watching Harry Potter.
Chamber of Commerce.
Anyways, I guess is that a wrap for?
That's a wrap
for 2023. Oh, maybe we could sneak one more in, but
what?
One more podcast.
We're gonna sneak one more podcast in.
Before
we gotta do Jingle Bells edition.
Gotta wear Santa hats.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. I'm into it.
Excellent.
All right. Anyways, guys, I think that's it for today. That was a jam-packed session. We're going to have more to come in 2024 because
reach out. Let's plan your goals for 2024. Even if you're not planning to buy right now and stuff, let's get you, it's called a real estate investment plan. It's a REAP. Yeah. It's extensive. It's kind of cool. We'll give it to you. No questions asked, for free.
Yeah, it's free. It's a free call with us. Yeah. We've been having a lot of people from the podcast reach out to us and want to work with us. It's so cool. We love it.
We're in a little group of friends now.
Yeah. So, I mean, our ultimate goal is to still give you guys free content every day, but working with us is cool and we love it. So if you are thinking about buying or selling
2024,
give us a shout.
Store.
Let's see what's in store. It's good. Anyways, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We passed 1,000 subscribers, which was a pretty cool feat. YouTube's hard. It's hard to get views.
I'm at 30,000 on Instagram.
Yeah,
followers.
yeah. We'll probably pass that by the end of the year, which is so cool.
Cortez loves when people recognize him on the street. He thinks
No, I
he's
don't
like
love it. No, no, no.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Like
It's a funny story.
Celebrity.
No, I never know what to say.
Oh, you love it.
Yeah. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a review. We're trying to get those up as well into the next year. And yeah, if you want short form content, we post daily videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts if you're on there. So that's pretty much all I got.
All right. Everybody have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and
Yeah.
hopefully talk to you before the new year.
Enjoy some time with your family, some downtime.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You
Remember
guys take care.
The good stuff.
We'll try and see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.